In this video, we're going to see how we can use semen retention to increase testosterone, to attract a woman, or to keep the spark alive in a relationship right now. And we're going to do it not only using the tantric and esoteric kind of philosophy, but also backing that up with science. So we're merging these two of spirituality and science. That's my wish for this video. I'm going to give you 5 different scientific studies to back up the claims that I'm going to make that this is actually really possible. All right? So cool. Let's dive in. Excited for this video today. So first of all, we have to understand the difference between intellectual knowledge and experiential knowledge, right? So no matter what science says and no matter what the esoteric text says, like my experience is the most valid and true for myself, just like it is for you, right? So when we talk about these things, we also have to add the experiential part of it, because I know for myself and I know for my clients that I help that when you master semen retention, when you're practicing non-ejaculation while being sexually active, we're not talking about no fap here. Screw no fap. That's not what we're doing here. We're talking about being sexually active and not ejaculating. When you do that, you increase the energy. That's what we have noticed. We have so much more energy. We have so much more, fire. With so much more fuel to put onto our purpose and life. We feel more masculine, feel more embodied. We take more actions in life. We have more zest, all that kind of things. Confidence increases. Women are more attractive, like magnetizing to that person, right? So that's an experience that you can have. I cannot prove that to you until you get that experience yourself. Okay, so that's the first part. The other part, that we have things in society that actually makes this very real. Like we have seen in sports, they say, don't have sex with your partner before an important game, match, or fight, or whatever. Why? Because they want that beast mode to be really strong on game day, right? You don't want to ejaculate before that. So that's something we have there as well. But also there's a French expression in France, right? They say la petite mort or something like that. I'm not French, but it means the little death. And what is that referring to? It refers to that, post-orgasmic state that you feel drained, you feel tired, you just want to sleep. Have you ever heard, the stereotype when a man and a woman makes love? The woman wants to cuddle, wants to talk, wants to be close, right? And the man, he just wants to smoke a cigarette, roll over, and fall asleep, right? So we have these ideas, stereotypes. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but it's there, right? So these things are pointing towards that you actually drain your energy when you ejaculate as well, okay? In tantric philosophy, that is explained by the idea of the ojas energy. So ojas is our life force giving energy. At birth, we're giving like a battery pack. So all of us comes with a battery pack. And when this battery pack is completed or depleted, and it's out, there's no more energy left in the package, then we're done. Then life is over, right? So every time we lose ojas, a little bit of this energy in the battery goes down bit by bit. So for example, each ejaculation or everything that we lose is ojas through. And ojas is depleted through the ejaculation, for example. That's one thing, but also things like bleeding or menstruation. We deplete the ojas energy. So that's the philosophical explanation behind why this is happening, okay? So let's dive into some of the studies to back up these claims as well. First of all, my name is Steffo Shambo and I am the founder of the Tantric Men Experience, where I help men save their marriage or attract a soulmate relationship. Okay, so let's dive into the first article right here. That is from PubMed, pubmed.gov, as you can see. And what they say here is on the 7th day of abstinence, however, a clear peak of testosterone appeared, reaching 145.7% of the baseline. OMG, that is a lot, right? In 7 days, you raise the testosterone with 145%. That's a lot of testosterone. And they also found that on the 2nd and 5th day of abstinence, it was not really happening much. It was minimal, right? So what they say is that you need a 7 days period minimum of abstinence, of not ejaculating. And here is another study, again from PubMed, and here they examine a 3-week period of sexual abstinence, and they found that it does produce elevated levels of testosterone in males. So here we have it. We have either 7 days minimum or even up to a 3 weeks period of sexual abstinence. So what can we draw from that? You want to practice semen retention at least for 7 days, but continuing up to 3 weeks. Okay. And then on the other hand, there's also other studies. Here we have one from Science Directs that studies the correlation with ejaculation and hormones, okay? So when you ejaculate, you will secrete more prolactin. Prolactin is the hormone that is blocking erection and sex drive, okay? So what they found here, they said, this series of studies clearly demonstrating that prolactin concentrations are substantially increased for over 1 hour following orgasm in both men and women, but unchanged following sexual arousal without orgasm. Okay, so this is huge. This is huge because what they are actually saying here is that sexual arousal means having sex with yourself or a partner, but without ejaculating, because for them, ejaculation and orgasm is the same. But we know in Tantra, right, that they are actually two very different things, and you can learn how to separate them. That's what I'm teaching in my program as well. But so they're not the same thing. So we have to actually correct this and say ejaculation right here. So what does that mean? That means that you don't have to release this prolactin if you are sexually active but without ejaculating. Okay, does that make sense? So you can actually practice semen retention and not have the bad side effects of prolactin, because prolactin, as we know, as I said, here we have from NBC News that is saying that prolactin, studies have found that high prolactin levels in men are linked to low sexual desire and erectile dysfunction. Men suffering from such conditions are sometimes tested for high prolactin levels. So that's why you don't want to have high prolactin levels, which happens after you ejaculate. So just a disclaimer here is that not all scientific researchers on prolactin is actually saying the same thing. So we're not 100% sure yet what the consensus in the scientific community is about prolactin levels, but we have many studies showing that prolactin increases when you ejaculate, and we have a lot of studies that saying when ejaculation occurs, testosterone decreases, and when we practice semen retention and abstinence, testosterone increases. Okay, so just to show you and get more clarity around this, I want to show you this graph. Okay, so let me pull up this graph. So here we have days of non-ejaculation, and here we have the percentage. All right, so the first day, there's just like a tiny minor fluctuation here of testosterone. Testosterone is in green. Second day, not much happens, just minimal fluctuations of testosterone. The same on the 5th day. And then all of a sudden, when we come to the 7th day, it spikes up and hits 145.7% of increase in testosterone. And then during the next 21 days, 3 weeks, it steadily increases the testosterone in the male body. Okay, so this is the kind of graph when we look at days of non-ejaculation and semen retention. So I hope that now is a little bit more clear. And now you might be wondering, how do we actually use this information to attract the feminine? I'm now going to show you first some esoteric understanding of why this is happening, and then backing that up with some scientific research. You guessed it right. Okay, so here is why testosterone will attract estrogen, the feminine. So we can say testosterone is the masculine, estrogen is the feminine. But listen, this is not gender-based. This works even in a gay couple or whatever. Testosterone, estrogen, we all have it, and we all have feminine and masculine. Okay, so first of all, masculine here, the testosterone is the plus, is the red, is the active. Estrogen is the minus, is the blue, is the passive and inactive, right? So testosterone is the yang aspect. Okay, the yang aspect is the active, like we said, the sun, the fire, the daylight. And then the qualities of that, first of all, the physical benefits of testosterone is that you actually become happier. You actually have more feeling good hormones in your body. Your sex drive increases. You actually build more muscle. You're more leaner. Your body's leaner when you have a lot of testosterone. Okay, but then when we look more on the qualities, the characteristics of testosterone, you have things like leadership, assertiveness, success, achievement, and challenge. Okay, so when we challenge each other, when we compete in sports, when we have success in business, when we assert ourselves and book and organize things, when we take the lead in life, that is very, very attractive to the estrogen. Okay, because estrogen is the yin. Okay, yin, like I said before, is the moon, is the coolness, is the night, is the darkness, right? Is the passive. But also the more characteristics of the estrogen is supportiveness, is sensitivity, is nurturance, is emotional intelligence. A lot of guys have heard this from women, right? That they feel like men nowadays are lacking emotional intelligence. They can't express their emotions as good as a lot of women want. Okay, and then we have cooperativeness. So you see how they go together like hand in hand. It's not one is better than the other. It's not that we are equal, but it's just that we're not the same. We have the polar opposite qualities. Okay, can you see this? And can you see how well they go together? So when you assert yourself, you have that confidence, you take the lead, what will you do? You will actually pull all that estrogen towards you. The woman, the feminine, will feel this irresistible urge and be just attracted to that quality without really knowing what it is. It's almost like the Shakti of the world, the feminine energy in nature is like speaking through them, and they just feel like, wow, this is a man that I'm attractive to. And this is also explaining that many times unattractive guys physically have very strong testosterone. So even though they're not maybe physically attractive, a lot of women run after them just because they like ooze this testosterone, this masculine energy. Does that make sense, guys? So if you are high in testosterone, that will magnetize the estrogen, because it's a law of nature, the law of polarity. Just like a magnet is drawing and pulling metal towards it, the testosterone will pull and magnetize the estrogen, because it's a law of nature. The women doesn't even need to understand what is happening. They might not even be aware of what's going on. This is just happening naturally, okay? So now I want to show you a study as well that back up this claim that I just made. So let me pull this up to this one. So we have here from Science Daily, and they had a theory that, that testosterone influences competition among males trying to attract females. So these were findings from a recent study at Wayne State University, to give more clearer understanding with this link, okay? So what they said is that we found that testosterone levels influenced men's dominance behavior during the competitions, okay? Moreover, the researchers said books, film, and television often portray men who are bold and self-assured with women as being high in testosterone. Our results suggest that there is a kernel of truth to this stereotype, that naturally circulating testosterone indeed is associated with men's behavior when they try to woo women. Okay, isn't that amazing? So now we got 5 very cool scientific reports that are backing up the tantric ideas and philosophy. Isn't that wonderful? Finally, we start to merge these two worlds of science and spirituality. So I hope this video was helpful. If you're a guy that is right now struggling with these things, maybe you've been alone for a very long time during lockdown, or your relationship is really wearing down during lockdown, you're just walking on each other's feet all the time, and your testosterone start to lower, because when you're alone and you feel bad about yourself, you're actually high in estrogen. Or when you complain about your wife and you complain to your wife, you're actually high in estrogen. So if you want to take this knowledge, master semen retention, increase your testosterone so you can attract a woman during lockdown or fix your marriage during lockdown, they invite you to watch my free webinar. Just click the link under this video, and I would really be honored and wanting to help you to discover how to do this, okay? Because it's just 5 simple steps that are laid out for you. So click the link under this video. I will also try to leave the links to the research under this video as well. If you have any comments, leave the comments below. Click like, subscribe. See you next time. Stay strong, brothers. Much love.